Hi everyone. So welcome to today's class. I think this is day 20. Um, so what day is this? I think I just lost track of the day. So let me check. Uh, so this should be. Hi Gloria. Good evening. So I just want to keep track of what day. So this should be day 23. That's awesome. Okay, great. So this is day 23, and it's good for it's good to have everyone here. So today we'll be looking at pretty much we'll be looking at three topics, But first, I want to I want us to share the link of this. I want us to share the link of the um, you know of this section. I want to share it on our social media handles. I just feel we should do that. Okay. Okay. So, trying to. Great. Great. So, what I want has worked. Fantastic. So, yeah, great. So, I was trying to set up something. Yeah. How are you, Francis? You're welcome. So, today we're going to look at how we can work with files. How we can work with files, and also how we can use this for with Python, how we can be able to work on files and then be able to use it to work. I'm seeing a very solar. Okay, so work on files and then see how we can also look at the OS module. Okay, look at OS module, then how it looks like, and then the next thing that we're going to look at also is the file automation. So I'll teach you guys how you can use Python to automate a folder, and which can be a basics to how your knowledge to how Python does its own uh, optimization. Okay, so let's begin because I want it to be a very wonderful class and a brief class. So first of all, I'm using a Linux. That should be clear. So I'm using my Ubuntu is LS. Okay, great. Should be clear. Great. So I'm not. I just want to state that okay, this is the platform I'm using, so that you all know understand what I'm saying. Okay, so that's it's possible it might be different in your site. So I think that what I want to do is that the reason why I did LS was that I want to CD into the pip because there's a folder I'm working on. So let me clear this. So when I do ls, so this is everything that we have. We have it's already showing on my VS Code. Okay, we have all of these files on this folder called pip underscore Python tutorial. Okay, so I have some this I have some audio. This is an audio. This is a video. These are pictures. Image. Um, let's see if we can have that display. Great. This is an image. This is an image, but this is a PDF. I'm not sure. I don't have an extension on the PDF here. I have no. I have an audio. I don't think I have an extension of an image of a video here, but I think it's coming up. Let's see if that's what if VS Code can do that. But great. So this is a video that talks about chatbots that I designed, I built. So we'll work on these files later, but the main thing is that we want to So let's start with our file handler. So that's the first thing I want to teach about. So let's start with the file handler, where we see how we can use Python to build, you know, or to work with file. So you can see first of all that these are all the stuff that I have, like I explained. So we want to create a file. So how do we create a file in Python? All right. So we're going to be using this is the line to create or override a file that is already existing. So we say with open. Now, with open, what we'll put here is the parts of the file. All right, the parts. Let me over here so you can see that the first thing you want to put is the file parts. All right, and then the mode that you want. Okay, with after the with keyword. So I'm using example.txt. What Python is going to take it is that I'm saying that open this file or create this file in the current working directory. All right, that's what it's going to do. So when you create it, we want to write into the file, and this is what we want to write: hello Ubuntu. This is a new line. Okay, so so if I run this, great, it's worked. So immediately I run this, you can see that we have a new file right now on the folder. So it tells you that it's hello Ubuntu. This is a new line. So that means this is how you create a file. You use the width, open the part of the file and the mode that you want to do. And then we say as file. So what we're saying is that all of these objects rather, it's taken as file. So we pick the file, and then once we pick the file, we can be able to write into a file. So there are many things you do in a file. You can write to a file, read in a file, and all of that. So because the mode we are doing is write, so we want to write into the file. That's what we did. Now, if I run this, it's going to also work because it's going to override what we already have on our file. So it's going to create the new file, that same file, and then write whatever we want to put inside of it. So what I'm saying is that if I say this is a new line, and then I said, so let's do something like, let's say we want to write something like this, an article. Let's say I want to do something like this. This is a new line. I'm scared of. Let me put this part here. This is a new line, and then I am happy. I'm happy to learn, for example. Okay, so this is what we have already before. But if I run this, when we go back to this place, you see that it has changed. Hello, but to this a new line. I'm happy to learn. So to correct that, I just need to put this because I'm using what's it called? So I can have it this way. Great. So if I have it this way, everything stays the way it should be. So let me leave that one here. So I have it this way. Everything stays the way it should be. Great. So that's how we can create a file. But what if we want to read an existing file? Okay, if we want to read it, is that we also use the read function, and then the open function rather. We use the open function. So now you know that width is a reserved word. So we use the open function, and then we pass in the file parts that we want to. Same way with how you want to write a file, but this time we are saying the mode we are doing is read. So because every of this mode determines what we can do, all right, on that file. So we want to read the file as a file. This is a variable name that we're going to be using to trap that object, that file object. Okay, so we want to read it, and what we are doing is that file.read, save everything that we are reading into content, and if you print it out, see, we're going to get, no, this is a new line. I'm happy to learn. So we've read whatever is in that file. Now, let me see if I can do something. Okay, so I have a script here. So I'm going to copy this, paste it here, and just let's copy the relative parts of this file organizer here. So let me paste it. Let's paste and we run this. So you see, if I run this is all the script I have inside this file. So you can see that what I have here, it's what's showing. Okay, what I have yeah, it's what I'm seeing. Yeah, all right. I just wanted to show you guys that. Okay, so I'll just comment that off. Then, what if we want to? Another way we can also do it is that when you don't want to use the read method, you can also say that you want to open the file, and then for each line inside the file, for each line inside the file, you want to inside the file, you want to print each line out. Okay, so that you are reading it step by step. All right, that's another way. So you're just using for loop to go through all the content of the file. Maybe the reason why you want to do that is you might want to search for something in a line. Okay, or depending on what you want to do. All right, so that's why you want to read it line after line. But the first one we did is that you are taking all the content inside the file, you are saving it into a variable, and then you're using the variable to do what you need to do. So you can see when we did this, we had some space. There's a space here. There's a space here. So to remove that, we just use the dot strip method, because it's a string, so it's going to strip off all the empty space, and then we'll be able to get it the way we want it. Now, great. So another way we can also do work with files that we can append. So all you need to study is to study all of these modes that are available. There are some modes like you want to use read and write and all of that. Okay, but these are three basic stuff you want to do. You are writing, you are reading, you are appending. So let's say we want to attach new text to it. Let's say we want to attach I love PEEP community. I know I'm changing this thing. So I want to append. So we still follow the same line, okay, in terms of the width open function, and then passing the file part, and also, but this time we are appending, so we use the A to append, the append mode as file. But because we are appending, we want to also write something to the file. So we do file.write and we write this line. Great. So if I come back here and do width, and just copy all of this. I want to type that so that okay, so if I say width open read as file, then the content is equal to, I don't want to go back and file.read. Okay, and then let's print content out for us. Great, so you can see that I love PEEP, it's at the bottom. Okay, it's appending at the bottom of the code. The reason why there's a new line is because we said, okay, so let me remove this. Let me leave it, copy this, paste it here again. And this time take this one off and say I love PEEP. Let's say, let's say 30 days. It's Python has been fun. Great. So if I run this, you will see that it did not go to the next line. It just, because we are appending, so it just stopped from the last place your cursor ended. Okay. Well, if we did something like, now I'm going to copy again. If we did something like this, and we say that if we now do the next line, all right, it's going to do what we did in this place. So I don't think there's no need repeating it. Okay, great. So this is how we append. You can append to a file. All right. So you can also notice that a file, it's oh, so everything in it is a string, but in as much as it's a string, right, it's also we can split it. I can split this to get let me just think of what I want to say. So let's do read line, for example. So read line, with read line, you can read just the first line. So read lines. So now you splitted it. That's what I wanted to show you guys. You can split it. So you can see that we splitted this to one. This has been splitted again. The next one has been splitted to a list. This is now a list. See, all of them are now a list. They are a list. So we can save this old stuff into a list and then be able to maybe do whatever we want to do. So whatever you want to now do with the content in that file, you can be able to do it. You can search, you can find and replace. All right, you can find and replace. You can say if you find let's say if you find this word in our file, we want to remove it. So let me stay okay, let me copy this. So I want you to read the content in the file. All right. Then what I want is that if, all right, if what I want to do is that I want to say that, oh God, now I'm thinking. So once we get this, okay, let me show you something. STR. So what is the type of content? So we can see that content is sorry, not string. I wanted to do type of content. You see that content is a string. So what we can do is that we can say updated underscore content is equal to content that we have. Oh, I just copied and Control C, content that we have dot replace, meaning anywhere you see this, because this is what we made a mistake with. Anyway, you see this, kindly replace it with an empty value, right? And then print our updated content. So print our updated content, okay? Now, if I do this, it's going to replace it, but it's still, we've not updated our file, all right? It's still, we have not updated our file also, because if we go and check our file, you still see that we have that stuff inside. So we've not updated our file. So if we want to update our file, then we might also want to do another with open again inside that stuff. So with open that file, or we can also restate a mode that, okay, great. What we have now is that our file, all right, we can say our file dot write. We can now do something like this. This is, well, because we are still on read, so that's what we have to do. So you can do read write, all right, that you want to read, you also want to write. I didn't plan to go this deep because of other things that I want to cover, but yeah, so I'll leave it this way. You can practice more on it, and either you do read writes, and then you can be able to, because if I do what I want to do now, if I do file dots, right? Let's say we want to write updated content. In this case, that's what we want to do. And then I'll take this off and I run it. So we'll have an error because we cannot write inside our file. All right. I don't think, because we cannot write inside our file, we would have an error and we cannot read. So there are ways we can, oh, I've forgotten how to do this appending and all of that. Oh, this is not why I'm here. So what we could do is that I think there are modes to which I can, let me see if I can remember from, I can't remember. From a mode, I wanted to see how I can. Uh, so these are how we have. We have the read, we have the write, we have the append, we have the binary mode, we have the test default. Test mode is the default mode. We have the open disk. Okay, but what I want to say is that the default mode is RT opening for reading test. Okay, for random access. So I think if I go through this documentation, I'll be able to find what I want to do. Well, fantastic, guys. I believe you understand the concept. So I could do W plus arrow. Let's see if that will give me what I want. Control V, W plus arrow. Let's see if you give me what I want. So it's not giving me what I want. Must have a create and append must. have exactly one of the create, read, append. So I think it's just an issue with my how I'm reading the files and all of that. But if you sort that out, you can be able to read the file and then read the file and then append whatever you want to append. Or also you can also open that file again and then append that. So let's try that method. I want to be practical with what I'm doing. So when I read a file, and then the next thing I want to do is that I want to say, let's try this method. Okay. So while we read, we open again, we do file dot append. What we have, let's see what we happen. Great, not writable. Oh, sorry, W. Okay, cool. So, so if we check the file, I think I've lost, I've lost what I have in mind. But great, I think, all right, I think I have. I think okay. So we read the file, we get what we have in the file, then we write the file, we open the file. I guess Python is not saying what we have in this place, but yeah. So I think I've solved the problem a little bit, but my logic is not that really correct. But okay, that's fine. Let's move ahead. Okay, don't want to dwell on that too much. That's Python being Python for you. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about, because of time, I want to talk about the OS module. Now we talked about module in our previous. I think in our previous section when we talked before class, we talked about module. All right. So my mind is still here. Why is my mind still here? I'm going to check about. I'm going to check it and see. I know when you do things like. Okay, so I know when you do things like ls.array, this is where you get your read writes. Okay, okay, so you get your read write directory, write read. So this it's sometimes how I mark my okay, what execution mode should I give to them? Well, it's fine. Come back to that one later. So when we have, I'm opening this part because of what I want to do later in class. So I want to talk to us about OS module. Okay, OS module helps a lot. It's more like a system module created by Python to be able to do things like automation and to go through your files to be able to communicate. It's just like they're giving that platform of your command prompt where you can do a lot of stuff. You can search, enter through files and all of that. Okay, so it's so important. For example, I think I have something like os.system. Let me import os. I think os.system. Then I can do something like uh, let me see. I've forgotten what I can do with os.system. Come check something. So what I can do with os.system? It's I can check the same stuff I just checked on my PC. I can be able to check it on os.system. So I could do something like this command. Great. So I could do something like this. So same thing I could do on my command I could write on my terminal with os.system. Let's do this. So os.ls, exactly the same thing I did here. You can see exactly the same thing I did when I ran this code, this same line of code. I could run it inside my Python script and still be able to get answers that I need. All right. So that's how um, the OS modules work. Okay. So with the OS module, you can check if a file exists. So in this case, I'm checking if the file example.txt that we have, does it exist? Because we have the file here, it's going to tell us that. So we use this keyword os.parts, a part of the file, and then we use the, the method to check if it's existing. Okay, so we pass in the directory. So if this is existing, print this. If it's not existing, print file not found. We can also use os to delete. So os First of all, check if the file is existing. If the file exists, use os.remove, okay, to remove the file and then print out deleted. So if I come back here and check, does the file exist? To tell me not. So and you can see that my VS Code has cancelled it, meaning you cannot find that file. So you can also use OS to get the current working directory you're working on. I think we can do that on a terminal using PWD. Now, again, I'm using Linux. So some of you, if you are using Windows, I think it might be different. I don't have a Windows terminal on this. I'm using WSM Ubuntu. So PWD gets current working directory. We give you the current working directory that you are working on. You can also get it in a binary mode. All right, get current working directory in a binary mode. You can see we're getting bytes. So you can also list the files. You want to know all the files inside a folder by using the OS module. So you do os.list directory. So this is going to list all the files I have. Now, because I'm working in this current directory, that is why I have this. Okay. I can decide to say I want to check it for another directory. So let's do os dot list directory. Now let me go and take the path. Let me take a path that I want to. Let's say cd goc no ls. Let me see what I have here. So I have download. Let me see into my download and see what is there. I don't know what's there. My downloads ls. Okay, automate. Okay, great. So we have this. So let me cd back and let me say pwd to get the current working directory of nodes. So cd desktop download. Sorry, pwd. Great. So let me get this and go to, let's see if it will find that part. I don't know if it will find the part, but let's just check. Great. So you can see that when I put in the parts that I want to list all the items inside, so it's telling me that these are the items I have in that directory called download. All right. So these are the items. So you can also get OS from any directory. And you can also join directories and all of that. So it could be as complex as you want to make it or you want to use it. So what if I want to search for a specific file in my directory? I want to get all the file that ends with MP4. So maybe I'm looking for a video. So when I run this, in our directory we just have just one video and it ends with MP4. Okay. So what I did also was that I said file, because it's a list. Listen, because it's a list, you can look through. So we look through it, and then I'm saying if the file ends with, now ends with is another string method. Okay, ends with another string method. You are trying to find out what ends a string. Okay, so majorly sometimes we use it for extensions, to trap extensions. Okay, so if the file ends with this, what I have here, what I want you to do is that I want you to split that file by a dot. So if you split this file by a dot, what we have here, if you split it by a dot, you see that it will come as a list. The .mp4 is going to go to one list. Then the name of the file, that's the recording 2025, that is going to go to another list. So we have two elements in that list. So definitely the file name will be the first element of the list, or the first item in the list. So that's why I'm selecting the first item in the list. So I'm saying when you split it, take the first item, put it in, save it into file name, because that's what we need. And then once we do that, we print it, we get what we want. Guys, at this junction, I want you to send a thumbs up or a comment to tell me you're actually with me in this course, because we've gotten to half of the class in terms of the time we've spent on class. So can I see an emoji or something to know that you are with me? Great wisdom. Great. Great. So, so we'll go ahead again. So what if I want to change the current working directory? Okay. What if I want to change it? So I think I'll just copy the home directory that I have here. So if you want to change the current working directory, it means that you want to pass in a new path. You want to pass a new path to it. Okay. And please, so because I want to pass a new path, so I will do current working directory change. Then this time when I do os.list directory, it changes it to this place. Then what if I want to check if a folder exists in a file, if a folder exists, so we'll pass in the path to check if the file exists. Let's check if we have, let me copy relative paths and paste it here. A folder or a file exists. Does this file exist? It's saying not found, and I'm wondering why it's saying not found. Okay, because it's not a folder. If it exists, it's saying not found. All right, I want to see why it's saying not found. Okay, so let me copy part first and see. I think it's checking for. Let's see. Great. So I have to pass the entire. I have to pass the entire file path for it to say that the file exists. All right. So yeah. So I think this is where we ended. But there's a lot we can do. We can do os dot move, join, and all of that. We can do it on the using OS module. So guys, you have to research on OS module and study it a lot. Okay. Why we also, I think there's one puzzle in this class that I've not solved. Is this? I'm still coming back to it. Now, being the third part, so we're going to do the next part of the class. Now, what I want to do next in class is I want to show you how we can use OS module and the Shutil module to be able to automate and move files in a directory. I want to move file in a directory. So this is our directory that we have, but I want to shuffle things. Okay, let's say that every time and every period and moment, files do enter these folders that maybe you have a folder that you normally maybe your download folder, because download folder can be very very messy and somehow, but you want to do something that if I run a script like this, it will shift everything. Maybe all my audios go to a folder, all the document PDF goes to a folder. So there's separate folders I want to create in that stuff. And once I click it, it creates it, and then everything goes there. If the folder is already existing, it does not delete it. All right, it leaves the folder there. But if there's any new item inside, it just automates it and put that new item into the respective folder. Now, I know for you to have that all the time is that your app, your script should be running. Maybe you say I want to be running it every 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So there's what we call Chrome tab. Okay, if you're using um, um, Linux, you can be able to do Chrome tab. Just use a Chrome tab to automate that script. As long as your system is on, that script is automated on its own. Or else you go and manually use. I think in Windows, oh, I've forgotten the name they call that stuff. Wow, 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 wow. I know it has to do with shuffle or something like that, but or scheduler or something like that. But yeah, Windows has that where you put the script inside and it will run. But so for me, I use Chrome tab because it's very, very easy. Just use a Chrome tab and you're good to go. All right. If you don't want to save your script in maybe a cloud computing resources and thereabouts. So we import OS and then we import Shotzi and then so okay, these are the file types that we have in these files. We have PDF. We can also trap or no. If we don't find if you cannot find the extension, put it in an unknown folder. But I didn't trap that. So I just said PDF, images. So these are the function, these are the different type of image extensions that we have. Scripts, these are the type of scripts that we have. This for audio, this is for document, and this is for test. So I want to go back and restart that my example.txt. Where is my, oh, sorry. Great. So I want to have it. I want that file to be there. So I'm wondering why the file is not there. Okay. Oh, I've changed. Guess what, guys? I forgot that I've changed the working directory. So the file is there, but look at where you went to save. If I do ls now, this is my example. So it's showing there. So let me just take it off. Let me just rm example that's tst. Okay, let's clear it. Great. So I have to go back to here and change it to. I want to change this directory. So let me copy these five parts. Copy, copy parts. And where was our change directory? Okay. So this is our change directory. No, where's our change directory? Great. I just want to paste it here. So it has to be a directory, so not a file path. So it has to be this. Great. So now if I go back and redo this, Oxum, so I'll have example, but I just want it to be there. So we've done that, we've trapped that. So the next thing I did was to create a function that help us now automate this stuff. So the first thing, let's go line after line, is that we look through all the. Now look at what we did. We are passing. When you want to call this function, you need to pass the directory. So I'm passing dots here. Dots here simply means that I'm talking about the root directory, all right, of that folder, of that script, where that script is. Anytime you run that script, dots there means the root. Okay, the root. So see something like if I do something like cd dot dot, it takes me to the root dot cd dot dot. So that's what dots is like. You are going to the main directory, talking about the main directory and all of that. So we'll pass in the file, but by default we have the main directory by default. Okay, so we can also state here that this should pass in a string. You can also say that this should be a string str, so I knows that we are passing a string for. What is my type? So we are passing a string, but I don't know why my type error is not working. But I think anyway, so we're passing a string. Okay, it's already showing there that we're passing a string. Great. So passing a string, and then we'll list all the files in that directory. Now, if the file name, what I did is that I want to skip this automated file because we don't have to move the automated file into something else. It's the one doing the automation. Let's not have issues. Imagine you are running a script, the script is running, and you are moving that same script from where it is to another place. It might affect the script. So let's just leave the script where it is, okay? Because it's actually something that is automating it. All right, but that doesn't mean we cannot have a script saved somewhere else, and then that script is now automating another directory. We can also have that. All right, I might show you guys how that also works out. So we do our def, we skipped this file, and then this is where we do the os.join. Now you see I'm doing os.part join. So join two or more part names components, inserting a slash by it. So once you do that, our part file that we're going to say is we're going to join the directory, put a slash, and add the file name. All right, so we have that part. So if the path file is a directory, okay, if you add, what we're saying is that if you add the directory and then the name of that file, because a folder is also a file, all right, a directory is also a file. So if it's a directory, that's what this is doing. If it's a directory, continue, meaning leave it alone. We are not changing anything. All right, but then just continue. If it's not, what we're going to do is that we are going to say, okay, split it. Where to split the file name. When you split the file name, what we want to do is that we want to get the extension. Okay, we want to get the extension, and by the time we get the extension, we'll turn it to a lower case so that we can be able to trap all extensions. So we'll turn all extensions to a lower case. All right, because some people can save extensions in capital letters, so we save it to a lowercase, and then we want to run a for loop. But this for loop, we want it to. We can also do while in this case, but I'm using for. But we want to run a for loop, and then we use move to be our counter or to be our condition. So for folders and extension in our file path, now this is the time we are calling our file types. And you know our file types is a dictionary where we pass in the folder name. In this case, this will be the folder name, and these are the extensions that should be inside. So we'll do dot items. Remember dot items. Dot item loads the key and the value together. So if extension is in extension, so what we're saying is that remember that if we do dot items, it's going to load them as a tuple, right? A tuple or a list. Something I forgot, but I know it's going to come as an it's going to come as either a tuple or a list, something that you can iterate over. Forgot it. I don't know why did I forget that? Dot items to come as a list. To come as a list. Okay. So we'll iterate into it. So it will come as a list. Yeah. Look at it. It come as a list. So we iterate into it, and then if we iterate in that list, if we iterate that list, so we create a new. I create a new folder called folder.path or folder underscore paths. So I want to join that directory, that's our root directory, and this folder that we are looping through. Okay, we want to do that. Then once this is the part where we are now making the directory. So the os.makes directory is the keyword you use to make a directory. So we want to now make a folder or a directory, the same thing. We want to make a folder that carries the name of this folder path that we have created, which is a combination of our directory and the folder that we read from our dictionary, which we stated before. So the exist equals to true is that if it's existing, don't override it. All right, just leave it there. If the folder is existing, don't override, because if you override it, you're going to remove all the values that we have inside. So just leave it there. Now, this is where does the work. Shutil is the one that does the move. So Shutil or Shutil dot move. What do we want to move? There's a file path that we have. All right. This is the file path that we have. We want to move this file path into this. Okay. We want to move it into this. All right. And then once we are done, this is just to print that we have moved it. We set move back to true, and then we break. So if move is true, then we want to print that there was no, if move was true, meaning there was no file matching our orders that we want to change. Then after that, we call it false. So we do our main to call it false. I left this here because I want to also show you how we can use this to affect another file path. But let's run this. This too many talk. Let's run this. So it's just to click. I can click play here because now see what will happen. I'm trying to see what's going on my. Okay, so I think I need to check something. So what I need to check first is to check something like what is the current working directory I'm working on. Clear. CD. I need to go to CD ls. Sorry. So CD GOC and then CD Python, CD pip ls. Great. So clear. Then Python 3 alpha. Awesome. Now, when I run it, you can see that we've moved. We've moved this, we've moved this, we've moved this, we've moved it. Now, if you check by the side, by the left side, you see that all the files now has been moved into their respective folders. Great. So this is it. The only file that was not moved to the folder is this one. That's the file stuff, because we don't want it to move. It's the one automating if it's on its own. It's on the same directory with all of that stuff that we want to automate. Great. So what if I want to move something else? Let me see if I can quickly capture that home directory that we did. I don't know if I still have it. The download directory. Yeah, I need this directory. Let's see if I can capture this. And let's go back. So first of all, let's check the directory of downloads. So cd dash cd into ls. cd download ls. So what do we have? We have .txt. So we have a document folder created. We have a script folder. So within capture.csv, all right. So that CSV file will remain there. But let's just do what we want to do. So I'm going to comment this one out, and then I'm going to pass in the paths, and I'm going to uncomment this, and we're going to run this. So let's run this. Let me create another terminal. Let me split my terminal. So I don't need this other part again. So I'll just do cd dash dash cd python pip. So I'll just do python 3 pip python 3 file. Let's run this. Great, we've done that. So our script has finished working. So let's come to our download and do ls again. Okay, I think nothing happened. But let me see. Let me do. Let's see. I don't think nothing is happening, so I want to know what's going on. So let me run this from this place and see what's going on. Okay, great. So I think we've done what we want to do. Great. So if I do ls again on download, you can see that we now have two documents. I think I didn't run it well perfectly here. I don't know what happened. So we now have two. Let me delete this. I'll split it first. So we now have two documents inside our, um, inside our download. All right. So it means that the script, and you can see that only CSV file was not moved. What if we come back and include CSV file to our stuff and say, all right, CSV file should be, what should we call CSV file now? Let's call it, what's kind of, what do you store? It's still part of a document anyway, but I want it to create a new folder. So let's just call it micro ms. Let's just call it data folder because it's a data, and that is if it ends with csv dot csv, right? And also maybe if it ends with dot sls, yeah, if it ends with this, I can call it that. So if we also click on play, great. So it ignored dot web dot csv swap, and then it moved this into data. So if we do ls now, you can see we now have data, document, and script. So it's actually moving. So if we cd into documents inside our download and do ls, we have this because that's what we said it should move to. Anything that ends with .txt moves there. All right, and if we cd back and cd into data and do ls, now we have our web event CSV file here. So guys, this is it. This is just how automation file looks like, with Python. And I really wanted to show us how this works so that you have the concept and you can come back to this video and watch. I not only show you how you can open files and all of that, I also show you how you can use the OS modules to navigate your ways into directories and also to join that different directories together. Then I also show you how you can now use them in full with the Shutil module to be able to move files and rearrange files and organize files. Okay, I don't want to get too technical. If I want to get too technical, I would create a Chrome tab on my Ubuntu. All right, I'll create a cron tab and then pass in the part of the file. We'll pass some logs. All right, we'll pass logs in the script so that you can see the logins and to tell you the time that it was actually running the script, okay, to run the operation. So we've not done logins. So logins are another thing again in Python. You can do log to login infos and save it into another file. All right. So great. So this is so we could even run a script, taking the log time of that script and append it, or constantly append it on another file, so that we won't check that file, we know when that script ran and what time did it start, what time did it stop executing, what is the total number of stuff and whatever that it did. All right. So you can use Python for automation. That's another career path. Okay, so we've done Python for automation is another career path. We've done classes, that's software development, another part, and all of that. I think the only thing we've not done, I've not done NumPy. If we do NumPy now, all right, that would be for another career path for data analysis. If you want to do data analysis, it's use NumPy and go from there. And then maybe we'll do a little bit of web scraping, that would be another part. If you do something like Flask, that would be another part. So there's a lot in Python, but let's see how we will cover as the day goes. But I don't want to bug your head too much. I just want to show you what is possible and as we prepare for our weekly assignments. And lastly, the link to submit the bank application project that connects with the database has been shared on the group, on the Slack channel. Please submit. I always tell you this, I take record of those who do my projects. I take record of them. And I know when it's coming. there's always a there's always a day to reward. All right. So let me not let the cat out of the bag, like we always say. Let's just keep doing what we are doing. All right. If you feel you want to do it, if you don't want to do it, I will encourage you, all right, that you take your time and do every single project that was given throughout this training. Okay. So guys, that's the end of day 23. Right. So see you tomorrow for our last class for the week 3. And then next week becomes last week of the training. That's week 4. Amazing, just amazing. Okay. See you guys. We'll talk about other stuffs in the Slack channel. Have a wonderful time. So it's bye bye for me now.